Just a disclaimer, I will not be using any of the show's footage, so I'm just going to be using some video game gameplay footage that matches the tone along with some illustrations that I have made that I'm putting over to add some exclamation to my points because I want this content to be as pure as Heisenberg's product. But I have just watched Breaking Bad in 2022. Now, I did not watch it in 2008 because I was in middle school and we were not allowed to watch any shows that were about what this show was about. But you already know that it's about Walter White, who is living a mundane existence, being a chemistry teacher, underpaid and underappreciated, like most teachers are nowadays, having to deal with apathetic teenagers all day. And it really has a few scenes that highlight the struggles of being a teacher, where one kid's blaming everything on his ADD, his alleged ADD, and he's just telling him, hey man, it doesn't matter, a fail's a fail, right? Which I get. But he also has to work at a car wash in order to pay the bills, and then he gets diagnosed with the black lung, if you know what I'm saying. And he has a very limited time to live, and he is at the beginning worried about the betterment of his family after he leaves, and that soon morphs into, well, you guessed it, he and his former student, Jesse Pinkman, who he was like really the only character I ended up liking by the end of this show. That Hank and Mike, they go off and they start cooking some methamphetamine to make a lot of money, which, you know what, they do, but like, it was interesting to me because in the very first season, they deal with some small-time criminals, and then after just kind of like escaping with their lives, they try and ramp it up a little bit to meet some even bigger criminals, and they somehow think it's going to go any different. But I think that's like the cautionary tale of this show, is that I know like a lot of people are watching this because they want change in their life. But guys, if you're going to get involved in that stuff, which I do not encourage in the slightest, I don't think the people you're going to be dealing with are actually very nice, because it takes a special type of person to make it in illegal industries like that. Let me tell you. I kind of just watch different videos about different types of skills that I could learn to get jobs and find work and start my own LLCs and everything like that. And what could I say? There's a lot of work that just kind of like goes into like starting your own business and everything. And I think that's what they like were touching on season 5. But this became one of those shows where like all the people with a moral code had to pay. Jesse, Hank, and Mike. Like if you know who they are, you know who it is. I'm not gonna do a breakdown of every character in this one video, but if this video does very well and I get enough likes and traction on this, I will do some breakdowns of each character if it's requested. But Walter White, like I really felt bad for him at the beginning of the show, and then just by the end of the show, I was just like good riddance, because this guy went off the deep end bad. It wasn't just about providing for his family anymore. It was about just him ramping it up to the max of just how bad a human being can be. And even his wife became complacent in it, which I guess I get it. She understands the stakes and how she needs the money, so of course she's gonna get involved with it. But like Hank had to pay the price because he just wanted to do the right thing, and then he ended up getting shafted at the end. And even Jesse, as much as he wasn't a saint. He did a lot of drugs in this show, and he did a lot of things. But you could tell, like even at the end of season 3, when he had to take someone's life who really, was kind of innocent. You could tell he had a lot of remorse for a few seasons. Like it was eating away at him. He could not like get his mind right in that scenario, and he really was abused throughout the 5 seasons by Walter. Walter really just did not appreciate this guy, but he was so possessive over Jesse. It was super creepy. And like I said, like Jesse was like the one that I like really sympathized with, who made it out by the skin of his teeth at the end. And there was just some times where I get it's a series, but I just think common sense wise, if you barely make it out from like normal 2-bit criminals, I don't know why you would move on to big other drug kingpins that have a lot of reach, influence, and they're all buddy with like the higher ups in the law and everything like that, which very well might actually be a real thing. I wouldn't know for sure, but I wouldn't it wouldn't put it past me if things like that were to happen in real life. Nothing I could prove, but like I think everyone in this show was kind of overall like overbearingly self-serving. Like even a lot of the minor characters only were like worried about themselves. Like that scene when Gus got dragged into the hospital bed and Mike was obviously shot, and all that the medical people cared about was Gus because hey, he pays our salary, which I get it, but at the same time it's like, man, there's a guy on the other chair bleeding over there. Like you might want to help him out too. But you know what they say, money never sleeps, I guess. And Skylar White really, got complacent in the whole thing too. So for her to act like she was somehow the victim to the whole thing, I don't know why. But it just was one of those things where like everybody in the show that lived was just horrible in a sense, and like all the good people got punished. And maybe it's just a little reflective on real life, I guess. I mean, a lot of people in life are selfish. There's not a lot of selfless people out there, and usually when there is a selfless person in modern society, they get punished. But there's like a huge takeaway from this show that I just hope that people get, is that maybe you shouldn't be dealing in illegal stuff to break away from an unhappy existence. Maybe make it a little more legal, because it was just such a depressing finale. It was bittersweet. There was like kind of a high note. He saves Jesse and he gets the money to his son and everything. But the devastation and despair on all the characters that you could tell were just, their lives are never going to be the same again, and they are scarred for life after the events of what had happened. And it's almost like Walter just couldn't help himself by the end of the series by just doing the most nasty thing possible to everybody involved. Like he just like taking the daughter out of the crib that was such a scumbag move, and it just was like he's so desperate, like, oh, I gotta be bad right now. I mean, sometimes it's a little over the top, but I just don't know why everyone was like acting like he was like somehow a victim to this whole thing, because I think he just kind of like took the Breaking Bad thing a little over the top. Like the acting was phenomenal, don't get me wrong, but I just didn't know that human beings acted like that in those situations where you're just going to reach for the crib and take your youngest daughter out while everyone else is kind of like screaming. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there are some cases like that where that kind of stuff goes down, but that's basically what I thought of this show. I mean, this is just me droning on, but I had to make a video about this because everyone wanted to talk about it, so I'm just kind of like getting in last minute. But that was my thoughts on Breaking Bad. If you wanted to leave a comment to tell me your thoughts on the whole series, I would love to hear it. Please just comment, interact with this video. I would love to have the audience interact with this. But I will see you guys on the next one. See ya.